I'm Craig Harrington, and today we're going to discuss the WTO and the Doha Round trade negotiations. In 2001, the WTO met in Doha, Qatar with the intent of increasing international trade liberalization. Developed countries like the United States are somewhat opposed to some measures of this liberalization. Developing and underdeveloped countries like India, Brazil, and China are much more in favor of these liberalized tactics. One of the talking points between the countries has been industrial and agricultural tariffs and subsidies. The United States maintains some. These countries want them all gone so that they can get a bigger foothold into the international economy. To deal with this problem, the WTO has brought up a bigger issue. They want to move their meetings behind closed doors so that their dealings can be out of public scrutiny and out of public control. It's already bad enough that the United States doesn't have a democratic vote in the World Trade Organization because our voice, that of the United States Trade Representative, is not elected, but rather appointed by the President and then confirmed by the Senate. The United States citizens don't even get their own elected official into this supranational governmental organization. Yet this organization, the WTO, can make our own trade policies for us against our will and often against our benefits. The WTO poses a very large problem to the United States. Its authority supersedes that of our federal government, our local governments, and our state governments. In doing so, it takes away our sovereignty and instead replaces it with an extra-governmental authority which is not American and not necessarily democratic. There are a few ways to deal with this. The United States could remove itself from the WTO entirely, or it could pursue some way of getting the WTO out of its secrecy and into public discussion. So far, the Doha Round has been turned into a quagmire because of media and press leaks, where international discussions, which were not favorable to constituents back home, were brought to the public eye. To combat this, they want to do everything in the back room. The Doha Rounds were set to reconvene, in late 2009 or early 2010. And when they do so, if these backroom dealings prove to be fruitful, they may have come to all the conclusions necessary without having another meeting, and they will have done so without any of our knowledge. The WTO is a huge problem, especially to developed countries like the United States. Everyone wants a piece of the pie, and the United States currently holds about 1/4 of that pie. If everyone joins in, our slice gets smaller and smaller, and as this occurs, the United States is hurt. Free trade and trade liberalization have started destroying our industrial base, and they're moving into our economic sector through the service sector economy, the outsourcing of call centers and manufacturing jobs to India, Mexico, China, and elsewhere. There's a huge problem in the WTO, and the US needs to fix it. The only way to do so is to either alter our agreement with the WTO or remove ourselves from the body entirely.